Exciting stimulus all around. Wait until you see what we have in store for today's fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. Nancy Pelosi confirmed votes happening this week. That's votes plural, as we're not just going to see one, not just two, but three major stimulus bills dropping this week. The $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package, the mega $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, and the government funding bill, which if we don't pass could lead to the first government shut era. All the meaty details in today's video. I swear the stimulus just never stops right here on the channel, and definitely a very big thanks to all you guys who always hit the like button. I really appreciate the support. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So the Democrats have been quite busy. A lot of things have happened over the weekend, and it's going to get even more exciting as we enter the final week of September. Now, first off, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she confirmed that she'll bring the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill to the chamber floor this week. She also said that she will indeed bring up the infrastructure package that was promised, as she said it will come up on Monday. And you guys should listen to her describe the whole thing here.
First of all, let me just say it's an eventful week. First of all, we have to make sure, just chronologically, we have to make sure we keep government open, and we will. Second of all, we have to honor the vision of President Biden, and we thank him for his leadership and his courage putting forth such a bold package. In order to move forward, we have to build consensus. It's not winners, losers. It's bring people together, and that's what we always do in the Democratic Party. And what President has put forth will create many, many more good-paying jobs, especially in terms of addressing the climate crisis, which has not been fully addressed in the infrastructure bill. It will lower costs for families by lowering the cost of prescriptions for seniors and healthcare costs across the board. It will give one of the largest tax cuts for the middle class, with the Biden child tax credit, and it will be paid for by making everyone pay their fair share. Lower cost, tax cuts, paid for, more jobs for the American people.
Also, in the same interview, she also said that she is never bringing a bill to the floor that doesn't have the votes. So what do you think, guys? Are we finally going to see all of this happen this week? Drop me a quick comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one. Now, some people say that the reconciliation process is just like one party taking a bill and essentially ramming it down the throat of the other party. Kind of like this truck that's pulling a trailer that's way too big for the tunnel. He tried to back out, but ended up getting all fed up and just essentially rammed it through using his own version of reconciliation. But all kidding aside, I can assure you though, this is definitely going to be an exciting week for stimulus. Just take a look at what's on the line here. The IRS tax credit, $250 to $300 in monthly stimulus payments per child to be extended until the year 2025. You've also got the earned income tax credit, that's $538 for individuals with no children. One qualifying child, $3,584. Two qualifying children, $5,920. Three or more qualifying children, $6,660. We may see this boosted under Representative Gwen Moore's proposal, $4,000 for single filers and $8,000 for married filers. She also wants to make it a monthly check, a lot like the monthly child tax credits. Child and dependent care tax credit, $4,000 to $8,000 in tax credits for the care of qualifying persons. Now this covers your children or other dependents. Vehicle tax credit, $7,500 in federal tax credits for certain alternative energy cars. Trade adjustment assistance programs, boosted benefits and expanded eligibility for assistance in programs that provide financial support and workforce development services for people who have lost their jobs as a result of trade. The committee Medicare expansion, vision and hearing benefits to the older population in 2022 and 2023 respectively, while dental benefits would begin in 2028. Oh, and don't forget that $1,000 debit card for seniors that Senator Bernie Sanders is proposing. Definitely one to watch. Health Worker Grant Program, funding for the Health Profession Opportunity Grant, which provides grants to fund training and education for professionals in healthcare. Elder Justice, protections for seniors and those with disabilities from abuse. Nursing home data staffing reform, funding for the Department of Health and Human Services, including to manage validation of nursing home data and to conduct studies on staff to resident ratios in nursing homes. Childcare, grants aimed at helping childcare providers improve their facilities, as well as grants aimed at increasing wages for childcare workers. Retirement savings, provisions to require certain businesses to automatically enroll employees in retirement plans and to enhance retirement savings tax credits that benefits low and middle income households. Parental, family, and medical leave, up to 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave. Climate change solutions. The
The so-called 100-year flood is becoming more likely to happen every year. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but scientists from Princeton and MIT are now telling us that as global temperatures continue to rise, 100-year floods could become annual occurrences in parts of the United States. Our Republican colleagues have children, they have grandchildren, and how in God's name they can look those children and grandchildren in the eye and ignore the destructive forces of climate change and what kind of planet we're going to be leaving to those kids. Hurricanes and extreme weather disturbances are nothing new. They have always taken place. But what is new is the frequency and the severity, and nobody now can doubt that that is caused by climate change. Everything being equal, unless we get our act together, the situation will become worse. I don't need to remind you, you know better than I do, that just 13 years ago, the stage right here, this location, was 8 feet underwater. Cedar Rapids experienced what scientists call a 100-year flood. What we do in this bill is put hundreds of billions to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. We put money into communities that are already suffering the brunt of climate change and what it means in terms of flooding and lack of. This bill will be the largest single investment by far in American history.
You might be surprised. We could also see some stimulus in our pockets from this. It's in the climate change provisions that say consumer rebates to encourage clean energy and weatherization in homes. Now, it may not seem like much, but if you take a look at some local weatherization programs, they can easily provide moderate income households 50% of their project costs back. That's up to $4,000 or $2,000 for higher income households. There are also rebates for air sealing and insulating their attic or basement. For moderate income customers, a $500 incentive is available per area up to $1,000. Higher income households are eligible for a $250 incentive per area up to $500. Hopefully this will help some of you guys get those roofs fixed. Now, this is just an example, so it could definitely be a whole lot bigger in the coming reconciliation bill. Now, in case you guys are wondering, that $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill also has some very sweet stimulus in there for us. There are all these solid quality of life improvements in there. You've got transportation projects, reconnected communities via roads, vehicles, climate change solutions, clean drinking water, cleaning up the environment. Then we have an extra special part about broadband. A lot of you guys were asking me if this broadband deal was going to be extended. So this bill would actually spend $65 billion with the goal of providing broadband internet to all Americans, further aiming to boost competition among providers and ultimately reduce the cost of high-speed internet to make it more affordable. Translation? An even bigger discount on your broadband than what we already got from the American Rescue Plan back in March. Have you guys heard about that one? Well, if not, go ahead and head on over to the emergencybroadband.org for your $50 to $75 monthly discount on your broadband bill, plus a one-time $100 discount on any gadget. That is still a $600 stimulus check for the year if you think about it. Now let's just hope it gets extended with all this new broadband investment in the infrastructure bill. Officially, it aims to help lower the price that households pay for internet service by requiring federal funding recipients to offer a low-cost, affordable plan by creating price transparency and boosting competition in areas where existing providers aren't providing adequate service. It would also create a permanent federal program to help more low-income households access the internet. Oh, and let's not forget about our community members on Social Security. Our seniors, disabled, veterans, surviving spouses, railroad beneficiaries, the whole Social Security alphabet. We are still keeping a very close eye on the potential $1,400 stimulus checks exclusively for you guys. The Senior Citizens League is still petitioning Congress for that one. They're saying Social Security recipients should receive a $1,400 emergency stimulus check to cope with the unprecedented inflationary year. Social Security benefits are one of the few types of income in retirement adjusted for inflation. But soaring inflation has taken a toll on household finances of retired and disabled Social Security recipients. Sure, they may be talking about seniors here, but we're all feeling the crazy high inflation these days, especially our friends and loved ones that are on Social Security. Am I right, guys? We'll keep you posted this week. Now, as for the how, like President Biden said, this is a process and it's going to be up and down. But he reassures everyone, though, that every element of the economic plan is overwhelmingly popular, he repeats. I can definitely agree with that one, though. And based on Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal's recent interview, we can definitely expect it done sooner rather than later.
Would it be enough if there were an agreement on the Build Back Better Act, the $3.5 trillion spending package, but not an actual vote tomorrow? would that be enough for you in the House Progressives for the infrastructure bill?
Well, the reconciliation bill does have to start in the House because it's a budget reconciliation bill.
Right.
But everything should be agreed upon. What we don't want to have
an agreement's
happen,
good. An agreement is good.
Well, no, but an agreement of exactly what's in there. The language needs to be worked out because...
And a commitment that everybody's going to vote for.
And everyone's going to vote for it. And if Republicans offer, amendments in a vote-a-rama, that we're not going to have Democratic senators suddenly vote with Republicans. So the idea here is, unlike many other bills, many other times that we do this, where the House passes a bill, it's not necessarily something that the Senate can do. The Senate then goes and passes their bill, and then we conference or we have back and forth. This is a pre-conferenced bill, which means everybody in the Senate and everybody in the House has to agree on every piece of it.
But Pelosi says that she's bringing the infrastructure bill, the bipartisan, to the floor of the House tomorrow for consideration. Are you going to vote for it or against it?
I don't believe there will be a vote.
Vote tomorrow.
I mean, the Speaker is an incredibly good vote counter, and she knows exactly where her caucus stands, and we've been really clear on that. The votes aren't there. So I don't think she's going to bring it up, but I think the urgency is important. I mean, in some ways, the fact that this is there has finally provided the urgency for senators to engage in reconciliation, for the president to really weigh in. And, ultimately, we're delivering on the president's agenda. I mean, the Build Back Better agenda is not some crazy agenda that just a few people support. It's actually the vast majority of the Democratic caucus. And there's a few people in the House and a couple in the Senate who aren't quite there yet. But even moderates in frontline districts all support this Build Back Better agenda.
But just to clarify, you don't think there's going to be a vote tomorrow, but either way, you're looking for an agreement on the reconciliation, not necessarily a vote first when it comes to infrastructure.
Well, it's just the logistics of it, right?
Yeah.
Everything has to be done. There has to be kind of an ironclad...
Are you guys close to that at all, an agreement?
Well, I think we're finally talking, which is important, because that hasn't been happening for the last couple of months.
Pelosi says it's going to happen this week. Is that realistic?
I mean, we want to have it happen as soon as possible. So everybody, I know I worked every single minute of every single day for the last several weeks, for the last several days, trying to talk to people and get this done. That's our hope, is to try to get it done. But we need the Senate to engage with us if that's going to happen.
Senate Budget Chair Bernie Sanders and 10 other Democratic senators also issued a statement this week in support of the $3.5 trillion stimulus package happening just before the bipartisan infrastructure bill. They said Congress has the opportunity to pass the most consequential economic legislation since the New Deal. We can create millions of good-paying jobs as we repair our crumbling infrastructure, address the climate crisis, and finally confront the long-neglected crises facing millions of low-income and working-class families across the country. But we can accomplish these goals only if we stick to our original agreement. The House of Representatives should wait to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill until the budget reconciliation bill, which enacts the rest of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda, is sent to the president's desk. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer also announced an agreement on a framework to be able to pay for the final spending package. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the framework is a menu of revenue raisers that will pay for the spending agreement. She also said there is a broad unity on the importance of lowering costs for Americans on an array of issues, including child care, elder care, universal pre-kindergarten, and the cost of college. President Biden chimed in and emphasized that the new spending in the reconciliation bill would be fully paid for. We're going to pay for everything we spend. Every time I hear this is going to cost A, B, C, and D, the truth is, based on the commitment that I made, it's going to cost nothing because we're going to raise the revenue to pay for all the things that we're talking. Now, when asked what this means for the two stimulus bills that we have on the table, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said, "We take it one day at a time. I am confident that we will pass both bills." She said that this seems self-evident that the final price tag for the Democrats' spending plan will be smaller than the $3.5 trillion originally proposed.
I know the Budget Committee passed a resolution calling for $3.5 trillion, but it sounds like you acknowledge that the final number is going to be somewhat smaller than that.
Yeah. I mean, that seems self-evident. And so it's not just, we have some bird bath privilege kinds of things. It's legislation. So the fact is that this is the excitement of it all. It's just in real time and exploitation of a few people not in agreement being called a division in the Democratic Party. Everybody overwhelmingly, and I think even those who want a smaller number, support the vision of the president. This is really transformative. It's transformative for women when you think about child care and child tax credit and family medical leave and universal pre-K and home health care. How much in agreement are we on that? When you talk about the climate crisis, which we have a responsibility, again, to the children, but to our faith to protect God's creation, this planet, how much do you want to spend on that? So that adding up what our priorities are should take us to a number where we find common ground. Can we shorten the time or some other things to make this number smaller? That's our discussion now, but we're ready for it.
Now, just to clarify though, it's still looking good that we'll probably see the stimulus program still in the final package. It's just a matter of whether some social programs could be shortened or not. Now, she pointed to spending on climate change, healthcare, childcare, and elderly care, not to mention childhood education as areas of potential discussion. Wow, so we're definitely gonna have to pay close attention to what's in our coming updates. Make sure you're subscribed and that you have the notification bell turned on so you don't miss it. Now, on top of all of this, they also have the government spending bill and potential government shutdown hanging over their heads. Congress has until September 30th to avert the start of the shutdown of government services, which could mean the shuttering of national parks, fewer airport security screenings, an interruption of public health services, and eventually an interruption in the benefit checks to veterans and retirees and keeping national parks open. Not to mention, this could also be the first government shutdown. So here's the deal. Republicans say that they oppose the bill because it includes a temporary suspension of the debt limit. And while they oppose allowing the U.S. government to default, they want Democrats to suspend the debt limit without their votes. In short, Republicans want to avoid a government shutdown and U.S. default, but they want Democrats to do it. I don't know. I'm gonna let you guys think about that one for a bit. Goldman Sachs economist wrote in a note last week that the current standoff is the riskiest debt limit deadline in a decade. So, better be prepared, guys. I highly recommend getting a copy of our top 20 proof ways to earn extra income today. A government shutdown loose, inflation going sky high. Stay safe from it all with this must-have guide on the new normal and how to improve your financial game. There's a free link in the pinned comment down below. Check it out today. More updates in my next videos. This was today's 4th stimulus check update and daily news update. Pelosi confirmed votes happening this week. 3 major bills dropping this week. Got the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package, the mega $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, and the government funding bill, which, if we don't pass, could lead to the first government shutdown. Let's keep the stimulus rolling, huh? Check out our stimulus channel playlist for all of your most popular subjects like Social Security, student loan forgiveness, and of course, the 4th stimulus check. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and your loved ones. I totally bet that they would appreciate the stimulus lowdown too. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and an even bigger thanks for hitting that like button. And what did you guys think about that truck that tried to make it through that tunnel? Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care and be safe.